Steve Morales here, and today I'm going to cover 5 tips that you can use to help alleviate some of your headaches. Actually used to get headaches all the time. They were actually really debilitating, and these are the things that I use now just to help me get through those, to take the edge off of them. And I know how it can actually kind of derail or throw off your whole day. It can ruin a lot of situations, and I don't want people to just turn to medication. I want you to actually use some of these, because with these tips, we're actually getting to the root cause, which a lot of times is actually going to be muscle tension. And that brings us to our first one, which is soft tissue work. Now, I've covered this actually in a handful of videos. I'm going to put those in the description box. And with this, I typically use some of the tools that you're seeing right here, which are the foam roller. The lacrosse one is the big one. I use some of the active release technique tools, the massage stick. But really, the lacrosse ball is the number one thing that I actually end up going to. It's super cheap. You can find these for $4 to $6 on Amazon. And with this, you're actually getting to the root cause of the muscle tension based headaches. A lot of people have desk jobs and they're hunched over all day, and we typically send all of our stress to our shoulders. We clench our jaws, and over time that actually just causes more and more, not only tension, but really compression on the nerve, and that's what's going to cause those headaches. So if you haven't done soft tissue work before, check out my video covering how to actually do that. And with this, if you go through the routine, it'll actually only take a handful of minutes. It's something that you can do a handful of times throughout the day, and it'll really help just pull that huge amount of tension off. Also, I want you to watch for whether or not you're clenching your jaw, which I see a lot of. A lot of people are actually clenching their jaw. They don't realize it. Over time, you actually end up changing your nervous system, so you're constantly in this like fight or flight mode where you're just locking down your muscles. So we want to actually address that by just correcting the problem. Every time you notice that you're clenching your jaw, focus, make sure that it's relaxed, and then over time, eventually your body will recognize that is more of the normal state and not where you're clenching your jaw. Now, the second one is hydrate. A lot of people don't actually hydrate as much as they are supposed to. I mean, typically what I see is just people are chronically dehydrated. And I mean, your body is about 75% water. And when you become dehydrated, it actually just causes a handful of different problems. One of the big ones is going to be muscle tension. When you're super dehydrated, your body essentially just can't really have all the muscle contractions that it wants to. It actually just starts, to me, I almost associate it with it's like drying up, in the sense that your muscle can't contract because it's dry. But that's not necessarily what's going on, but it's actually not only causing that, but it's going to affect your blood pressure. It's going to make your blood pressure go down. It's going to make it so that you're getting not only those headaches, but you're getting muscle cramps elsewhere. It's causing tension in other places. With this, what I really recommend is getting not only the water, but you want the electrolytes also. And I'm not talking about like the sugary Gatorades or anything like that. What I'm really talking about is something that's going to have the minerals in it that you need. And I usually tell people to do coconut water if they can. Usually they'll look on it, they'll see the sugar. Now, that's a natural sugar. It's not something they've added in there. But with this, you're actually getting the electrolytes, potassium being one of the big ones, but you're going to get potassium, sodium, and you're going to get magnesium. With that, that's going to help, especially on the magnesium side, which we're going to get to here in a second, but that's going to help with keeping those muscles relaxed. Because if you're just drinking water, you're going to be actually flushing out a lot of your minerals. As you do that, if you don't have those minerals and electrolytes, that's what's going to cause the muscle cramping, and your body can't actually retain the water as good as it needs to. So you got to get in those electrolytes. After that, Epsom salt bath. So with this one, if you don't know what Epsom salt is, it's just essentially magnesium. But you put 1 to 2 cups in a hot bath, and you can find this at Walmart or any store, Target, wherever, and it's cheap. And you'll put that in there, you'll soak for about 15 to 20 minutes. You might even do a couple during the day, and this is twofold. One, magnesium is one of those minerals that most people are deficient in, especially women. And with that, you're actually going to get muscle cramps. If you don't get enough magnesium in, you'll actually have muscle cramps. The second part to that is, It's actually going to help relax the muscles just from the hot water. So it's going to help with, especially if you have kind of the shoulder and neck tension that's creating that headache. This will help to kind of relax those a little bit. And then the water is going to help when you're soaking in it like that. It's going to help that magnesium get absorbed into your skin a lot quicker. Okay. Typically, I'll do 1 to 2 of those a day when I have a bad headache day, which is actually few and far between now that I just kind of do a lot of things to be proactive. The main one being that soft tissue work, though. Next, we have the ice pack. Now, with the ice pack, this might almost seem counterintuitive. To me, it really helps with the inflammation side that I have going on in my head. So I'll really put it over my face, the top of my head, and maybe the back of my head. It's really just on my head. I'm not putting it on my traps or anywhere like that if I'm having a tension headache. It's just to leave the inflammation with that. And this is a weird position because typically you're going to want to get some type of vasodilation because your veins and essentially your blood vessels in your head are going to become somewhat constricted from the inflammation in your head, which is going to cause part of your headache. And you'll have that inflammation if you get super dehydrated also. But a lot of times with the headache and that inflammation, when we're getting that constriction on the blood vessels, that's when we're going to get a headache. I put this on there to help bring down that inflammation, so I'm not taking Tylenol or ibuprofen or anything like that. I can just help bring that inflammation down naturally with the ice. I don't do it super long. I'm talking like 3 to 5 minutes here or there, and I might move it a couple spots on the back of my head. And after that, I'll actually just put it back in the freezer. I don't do it super long because if you do something really long like an ice pack, it's actually going to have the counter effect. Your body's going to try and almost counter the coldness by adding more inflammation in the form of heat. So be very cautious with that. And with that, I might do it 3 or 4 times throughout the day. If it's really bad, I might honestly just leave it. If you've seen those ice packs that are basically like just for your eyes, that's usually what you'll see, because that really does help if you have a headache behind your eye. But don't overdo it. That's usually what I tell people with that. And then last, we have caffeine. Now, I know that might sound a little odd with this, but you're having that constriction from the inflammation on your blood vessels. Caffeine is a vasodilator, which just means it actually opens up the veins, the capillaries, and the blood vessels to help create better blood flow. So when you have a headache and that's constricted, this will actually help open up those blood vessels again. Now, if you're already doing the ice and you're doing those other things like the Epsom Salt bath and all of that to just alleviate some of that compression that you're getting from the muscles and that tension, this is kind of my last defense in all of this before I ultimately have to grab ibuprofen or Tylenol or something like that. That is the last thing that I want to do. And before that, I'll do all of these steps just to see if they'll help. And typically I can actually knock it out before I need any type of ibuprofen or Tylenol. So if you're caffeine sensitive or anything like that, I mean, think of your source with that. I'm not saying grab a Red Bull or a Monster or anything like that. I'm saying grab 1 cup of coffee or maybe a green tea where you're getting only 20 something to 80 milligrams of caffeine. Not a lot. It's just enough to help with that blood flow and to ease some of that discomfort you're having. So those are the 5 tips for you. If there's any that I didn't mention that you think should be in here, I want to hear from you guys. I want to hear what you're doing also that I can actually try out for myself, and then I can add and kind of compile a bigger and bigger list. Some things I didn't put on here, like using essential oils like lavender and stuff like that to help relax the muscles, or some of the rollers that you'll find that have what's the icy hot rollers and stuff like that. I actually use some of those, or Tiger Balm. I'll actually use those. Those are all menthol products. I'll do those pretty regularly too, just to help with some of the tension. So those are kind of honorable mentions. But like I said, I want to hear other things from you guys. I want to thank you so much for watching. If you like what you've seen or you want to get more information, definitely hit the subscribe button. And I'll be coming out with more just tips and tricks and all of that you can do to help with recovery, with soft tissue work, and all of that. Thanks again for watching.